Welcome to this overview of what goes into each section of the proposal. Since each project is different, these explanations are general. The presentation is based on the writing template available from the course of study or task stream. It is important to use this template and to carefully read its description of each section. When you have specific questions about your particular project, get in touch with a Capstone course mentor. You can reach us via email at the address shown. These two items, the title page and table of contents, are mostly self-explanatory. Complete the highlighted items and then continue. Since this is a Word document, be careful that you don't alter the format of the paper. It is already in APA acceptable format. The proposal overview has three parts: the problem summary, the IT solution, and the implementation plan. In writing, you've probably heard this golden advice. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you just told them. So this is the part where you tell them what you're going to tell them. Return to this section after writing each subsequent section to make sure that this overview remains an accurate depiction of the project. Also bear in mind that you are writing for an uninformed reader. Our evaluators are clueless about the problem at hand, the organizational environment in which it lives, what might or might not work to solve the problem in this environment, and how the solution should be implemented for the best chance of success. Keeping an uninformed reader in mind may help you to understand why the proposal overview could extend for several pages. Next comes the review of other work. This is otherwise known as a literature review. This section is about the past. The literature that you review does not have to represent precise clones of your project, but should relate to some aspect of your project, its problem, solution, and implementation plan. Evaluators expect a minimum of 4 cited references related to various aspects of your project. A key word here is variety. For example, avoid offering all of your research based only on Microsoft TechNet articles or Wikipedia. The table of contents shows a separate subsection for describing the relationship of the various artifacts to your project. The point is that its relationship to your work must be clear. Project rationale. If the review of other work is about the past, then one way to view the project rationale is that it represents the present. There are many things that might enter into the justification of a project. Some things that come to mind are policy changes, funding, talent availability, stakeholder wants and needs, and almost anything else, really. One thing to keep in mind here is the uninformed reader. Merely listing the rationale items won't be enough. You must place those in the appropriate business and technical contexts. That will often require that you think beyond your role in the project to include input from others. For example, maybe your role in a website update project is to add inventory control functionality. You may have to do some digging to figure out why this is needed. Perhaps customers or other stakeholders are experiencing an unacceptable delay because of inventory back orders. That's something customers should know about at the time they fill their shopping cart. Current project environment. If the review of other work nails down the past and project rationale is associated with the present, then another part of the present must be the current project environment or the analysis of the current system. If we continue our previous inventory example, are we talking about a coffee house that stores its coffee on an upright shelf in the back room, or is this about a major enterprise with regional distribution centers? The current process exists within an environment, and the reader must know what it is about the current environment that will impact how we design a solution for the problem at hand. For example, another facet of our current inventory system that we might consider is whether our current hosting arrangement will accommodate the needed improvements to our website. In summary, we want to understand the performance gap, which is the difference between the current state of the system and the desired state. Methodology. Projects are managed according to a methodology. Sometimes an existing methodology is applied off the shelf, or perhaps it is adapted in some way, or it could be that your organization has developed its own approach. Whatever the circumstances, a methodology exists, and this section is where you describe your project according to the stages or phases of the chosen methodology. If you aren't aware of the methodology used in your project, or just want to choose one that you feel fits best, try Googling project development methodologies and investigate some of the possibilities. The most generic of the methodologies that I am aware of is ADDIE: Analysis, Design, Development, Implementation, and Evaluation. Using its terminology, most project proposals are concerned with the analysis and design stages, but will describe plans for the remaining stages. Those later stages will get more attention in the capstone. Project goals, objectives, and deliverables. It's not uncommon to treat goals and objectives as synonyms, and deliverables as separate from goals and objectives. That, however, is not accurate. Goals represent business needs, as determined usually by upper management. For example, a business need might be better inventory management to reduce customer complaints. That may or may not translate to better software, although better software might be part of the solution. Objectives are the steps determined by mid-management to achieve the goal. So, when all objectives for a goal are achieved, we've reached the goal. Deliverables are the specific tangibles that result from completing an objective. These are usually produced by non-management staff like techs, programmers, sysadmins, data administrators, tech writers, etc. Note that this section has two parts. The first is the goals, objectives, and deliverables table. Just complete the table given in the template. The second part is where you will provide descriptions for each of these and clarify their relationships. Project timeline with milestones. There isn't much to say about this section. Just fill in the table and press on. The dates don't really matter as long as they are in the near future. The durations are the important part because you'll compare these to the actual durations in the capstone. Outcome. Explain what you expect for outcomes from the project. A general statement of anticipated success isn't enough. You must state the criteria for success and how those will be measured. For example, in our inventory program, is it successful if the new module correctly adds to and subtracts from inventory levels? Is it successful if it takes 5 minutes to do that while the customer is waiting for a response? How long is an acceptable response time? What other criteria might affect success? Keep things like criteria for success and best practices in mind when you are doing your research for the review of other work section. References and appendices. List all references that you cite. If you list something that isn't cited in your work, evaluators will notice and will require revision. All references and their citations must be in APA format. For help with this, try visiting the Writing Center's website. There should also be a link to the Writing Center in your portal. Thanks for viewing. If you have questions, please do get in touch with a Capstone course mentor.